toasting, joking too. Sipping and roasting is what we do. Light 'em up, drink 'em down. Whiskey and cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
Well.
That sounds like a party, my
Welcome,
friends.
ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally
Hi, Mom.
as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. Welcome to show number 299.
That's pretty crazy. That's halfway to 333 now.
It really is. We're just getting so close. We're getting so close.
299 shows.
Nothing
Awesome.
special planned for our 300th show. We're waiting till 333 to let all hell break.
You know
loose and do
that
something.
well you let out earlier was pretty fantastic. It makes me think of remember when you were young and you'd go to parties and everyone always had that one friend that just was always so loud.
Yes.
I didn't have that friend.
That means you were that friend. That means you were that friend. Yeah. So
That's enlightening.
yeah.
Mom
so,
said there was a weirdo on a bus too. I never found.
that happens. That happens as well. Well, welcome to our show. We're just calling today's show a mega beer episode.
Mega beer.
And the reason for that is because we are joined, once again, returning to the show, Ian's good friend, Adam Purple, and member of the Connoisseurs Club of Smoking and Drinking.
That's right.
Which
He's got his
Ian-
no beer left behind shirt on. Which
Ian
is
is also a charter member of, so it's nice to have you here.
and vice president of at the moment.
Yeah, people have
And
asked
board
me.
member over here. So.
Oh, okay. People have asked me before, do you have to have any qualifications to be a guest on the show? And my answer is always the same. It's like, absolutely not. You just have to bring beer or spirits or cigars.
I mean, I don't have any qualifications, and you let me on the show.
How could we ask that of anybody? But you do from time to time bring beer or spirits or cigars.
This is true. This
So
is true.
it's to see how it works. But anyway, we love having Adam on because he does, in fact, always bring
Always
interesting.
Sometimes the beers that
interesting
you
things
can't
to
get
drink.
anywhere else,
That's
except
right.
for where he's been.
Yeah, exactly. And today he's brought beers, and we're going to be doing a couple of different verticals. So tell us a little bit, Adam, about what we'll be trying in the vertical comparisons today.
Well, first up, we're going to do
And go ahead and lean into the mic.
an
There you
old favorite, KBS.
go. KBS, very good.
Kentucky
Breakfast.
Kentucky Breakfast
Sorry.
Stout. And this
I
is-
couldn't remember what the B was.
This is from Founders. Founders
yes.
Brewing, yep. And they are obviously not only a well-known and very well-respected brewery, but we were talking about this just before the show. There's a bit of excitement when this KBS series
when it first landed.
landed, and so it's become an annual thing. And so we'll be trying. Do you know what years we have?
This one's not the true vertical. It's
Okay.
I've got a 16, 18, and a 19.
We're going to call that a vertical.
That's
that works
close
for me.
enough.
It's vertical-ish.
It's vertical-ish. Okay, and then you have another vertical for
That's
us.
a drunken vertical.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did bring a true vertical of the Bourbon County.
And so this obviously is important in beer history because this is what started the whole, barrel-aged stout and now
Bourbon
everything
County
else.
Stout, yes.
This was the one that started it all. And I still recommend, by the way, if you are even remotely interested in beer, other than just drinking it, if you want to know anything about it, the book Bourbon Barrel Stout and Selling
Yeah.
Out is a fantastic book. I learned so much from that, and we've talked about. Actually, had the author on the show.
That was a fun show.
And
yeah.
it was just such a fun read. I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed.
Made me break out my Kindle for that.
I know, and that's good. Kindle's a good thing. I love using the Kindle. So anyway, so that's our mega beer episode. We may be trying a few other beers as well, and we're going to be trying a little rum today. The Ron Immortal, or Immortal, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's a 12-year aged Columbian rum. So looking forward to seeing how you guys respond to this.
Another episode of us doing answering the age-old question, what to do with a drunken sailor.
Right, and we've come up with a number of answers. I don't know if any of them are really sufficient, so we may have to continue.
That's why we have to continue exploring and asking this question.
Exactly.
Deeper.
Big thanks to our special guest from last week, by the way, Daryl McNally, the CEO and master distiller of Limavady Irish Whiskey.
That guy was
How fun was he?
awesome.
He really was. He was absolutely awesome.
He was so awesome.
So we're looking forward to today's show, and we have something special on drinking news today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to debut a new kind of drinking news episode today. So you want to give us a little teaser music? I think you got a string out of tune there.
Actually, no, it's just discordant.
Oh, okay. There we go. Appreciate it. On today's drinking news, we will debut something called Drinking Escapades. This will be a recurring drinking news feature that, from time to time, that's what drinking news will be, actual drinking escapades, as reported on by those who performed or committed the escapade. So, we're looking forward to that. I'll tell you about some cigars to watch for, and I don't know how you did this, man, but you managed to get them to name one of the most destructive hurricanes of the last century after you. Every time I flipped on the TV or the news or anything over the last week, it's always been about, Ian struck with deadly force.
Ian Smash.
Yeah, Ian Smash, exactly. And you are basically responsible, or your namesake, for playing a great deal of havoc with the cigar industry. It's not a good thing, my friend. So I will...
See, now I don't want that dubious honor.
Yes, that's exactly right. First, they did a great whiskey. Now Metallica is branching into cigars. We'll have that...
What?
We'll have that for you. And I have finally... we hear all of these news stories, all of these, things about how bad it is for you to drink. Well, there's something that's just come out that puts a little spin on that and turns it back around the other way about how good it may be to have alcohol in your life beyond just the enjoyment of the alcohol. It might be more than just a guilty pleasure, is what I'm getting at, and I will share that with you on the program today. So we got a lot of tasting
right. For
to
today,
do.
we're going to make it a justifiably guilty pleasure.
That's right. That's absolutely right, and I'm looking forward to it as well. How was your week, man? Did you have anything exciting happen? Anything you want to talk about?
So my week's just been cruising along. We went to a Cougars game, U of H football game on Friday night. Had a blast.
Fun. Yeah.
Lost by 1 touchdown.
Oh, hate that.
So bad.
Yeah.
That was like at the last second of overtime too.
But at least a fun and thrilling game. Right?
It was fantastic. Yeah. We went with a buddy of mine and hung out and had beers and food. It was a good time. So
awesome.
that was my weekend there. And then we had my buddy Ace. He's the founding member of CCSD. Had his Ace-toberfest on Saturday, which was a lot of fun. So we all showed up there, and there were beers, there were cigars, there were German foods.
There was fun to be had.
Yes, it was fun to be had.
A good time was had by all.
That's right. Which led to Sunday, which meant nothing much happened on Sunday.
I hear you. And I was in Fort Worth, Texas for the weekend.
Yes, and happy birthday to you, my friend.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Thank
now,
you.
I would have called you on your birthday, but I thought your birthday for some reason was in October and not in late September.
It is late September.
Sorry.
Yes, that's okay.
So, because I forgot to do that, let's get that over with now.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
We did this for Adam, so I guess now.
Happy birthday, dear Cruze. Happy birthday to you.
I hope you got me beer. Very nice.
All right.
Nice. So, in your goings on, I assume you had the opportunity to smoke something interesting.
I went by
this week.
Casa this morning, and I said, "What's new and awesome?" And Steve brought me in there and said, "Oh, I got something new and awesome." He actually had a couple things, but the one I chose was the Aliados Cabinet Edition.
Oh, the Cabinet Edition. That sounds
Cabinet
expensive.
Edition. Yeah, I don't really know what cabinet edition means on anything, but it generally does mean that there's at least an extra band on it, and it's a little more special.
Well, I know with a Spirit, if it's a cabinet edition, I would expect them to have to unlock that cabinet at the end of the aisle to get it out if I wanted to check it out. Right?
That means the cabinet edition can shift depending on what neighborhood you're in.
That's exactly right. Yeah, there are places where Coors Light is in the cabinet.
That's right.
Just saying.
So this is the cabinet edition. It's apparently Oliva bought the name Aliados, which was a heritage brand.
Cuba Aliados, I think is what it was called. Yep.
And this particular, they have two blends coming out. This one out now is made by Ernesto Perez Carrillo. And you know,
Mr.
I'm a fan.
EPC, yes.
I'm a fan. Like I don't know that I've ever had anything from him that's less than awesome. This is a 5x50 Robusto. Wrapper's a Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, aged 5 years.
I'm liking it already.
Binder Nicaraguan, filler Nicaraguan, and Dominican blend. So the appearance on this dark reddish brown wrapper, slightly rustic with some veins. Classic Aliados band, secondary EPC band, and cabinet edition footer on it. So it's a very nice looking, very nicely presented cigar. It's pretty firm overall feel and a little bit leathery to the touch. Not of a particularly oily, but a little bit of a toothiness to the wrapper. I really like that. The pre-light sniff on this, light barnyard classic tobacco and some chocolate right at the foot of the cigar. Nice. If you smell there. The pre-light draw, I used a punch. Had a medium draw to it, which was just fine for me. Earthy and sweet chocolate. Raisin fermented hay is what I got right off the pre-light draw. On the initial light, spicy, rich earth and tangy pepper, like right off the bat. So really, really nice, really big, fluffy smoke right there. I was doing some smoke rings with it. Tangy leather. I got on there. The Retro Hill is spicy pepper and campfire. The first third of this, spicy chocolate and sweet toast. Gossamer notes of raisin, fresh cut hay, cinnamon, and white pepper weave throughout, while a lingering tangy sweet leather and oak finish. I accidentally just said lingering. Where was I?
Oak finish.
Yeah, no, I moved it away. There we go. Lingering tangy sweet leather and oak finish on the palate. Retro Hill is toast and spices with campfire. Solid ash, perfect burn. The second third of this, oak and cedar move forward with toast and a nutty undertone with a hint of powdered sugar sweetness. Leather and spicy chocolate are consistent throughout with campfire, hay, and oak on the finish. Retro Hill is sweet cedar and toast. Solid ash, perfect burn. The last third of this, fermented hay and bitter citrus zest pull ahead on top of everything else, followed by tangy leather, earth, raisin, nutty flavors. Underlying sweetness and chocolate remain consistent. Pepper has kind of shifted to the background. Usually it's the opposite. You know, the more you smoke a cigar, pepper comes forward. But kind of shifted to the background. Aftertaste has a slight mintiness. Retro Hill is sweet cedar and toast with a touch of cinnamon. Solid ash, good burn. The burn got a little less even at the very last bit of this, but not enough to be distracting. Price versus quality. It's a good question. It's $14 for a 5x50. That's an expensive little cigar. I mean, that's super premium right there. It was a good cigar. It was very good. At the $14 range, I can find cigars that maybe I enjoy more, even though I really did enjoy this cigar. So I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Okay.
But I'm going to also tell you that if you're into the flavors that I mentioned on here, it's probably worth it. It's a medium, but on the lighter side of medium cigar with a little bit of pepper spice right up front. And totally worth trying if you like very chocolatey with the underlying sweetness going on.
So it's interesting to me that Oliva, a very successful cigar brand. I mean, they're one of the probably more respected. They've got a great purity to their line. In other words, I've never had a bad Oliva cigar. Right. They keep their line fairly simple, but they're branching out, and they bought the Aliados brand. What I don't really understand is why. Because they bought it, and now they've blended this $14 cigar. Well, Aliados was basically I don't know what it was known for like back in the day, but since I've been smoking cigars, I know it to be a halfway decent, discount cigar, a cheapie, you know, and kind of like Puros Indios. In fact, I believe
They bought Puros Indios as well.
Right. So both of those brands, I'm not saying the cigars were bad. They were just, this was not a luxury brand. So Oliva could have taken this same cigar that they blended and put that on and released it as an Oliva cigar or as a whole new brand name that they might have made up and said, we're branching out and our new cigar line is going to be this. I'm curious as to why they would buy, and this is something we'll have to talk to our buddy.
We'll have to talk to Trenton about this.
Trenton, because I'd love to know the story. Why would you buy a brand that is known for basically discount cigars and then release a super premium version of cigar under that name?
The only thing I can think of is, first off, Oliva.
And Oliva, by the way, they have great discount cigars of their own.
Even their discounted range.
Yes.
Man, they're great.
The Gilberto Olivas are great
they're
cigars.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And bang for the buck, they're one of the best out there. But their entire range is ultimately pretty affordable. Like, even their master blend is not outrageously priced. Their Melanio, which is just unbelievable, is like $14 tops for the Churchill, maybe $15, depending on where you buy it.
One of their highest priced cigars.
Yeah, and so they have this like right in that price range is kind of their top, and so I wonder if they're trying to resurrect a brand and bring back the name a little bit and make it into something that's a little bigger, because this was not. I mean, it did not smoke by any means like a budget line cigar.
No,
it was great.
No, I get it. And
it's tough, though. If you put this next to that Melanio, though, I'm going for the Melanio.
Right. It's very interesting.
At the same price.
It's very interesting, yep.
But it was a great cigar, all that being said.
I understand completely. Well, when I was in the Fort Worth area this weekend, had the chance to stop for a cigar at the Silver Leaf Cigar Lounge in downtown Fort Worth. A very nice place. They had a full bar. They had a nice area to smoke in, both indoors and outdoors. And I'm going to be trying to do a video humidor visit with them the next time that I'm up there in that area. It was, sometimes I didn't. It's not like I called ahead and said. So they said, we really should talk to the manager first. I'm like, no problem. So I got his card, and we'll try to arrange that. But anyway, while I was there, I picked up a Micallief Maduro Toro in their humidor, and I got the chance to smoke it in the outdoor area, which was awesome because the weather was perfect there this weekend. The cigar had a nice-looking dark Ecuadorian Maduro wrapper with Nicaraguan binder and fillers. I used my trusty punch and checked out the pre-light, both the sniff and the draw, which I will sum up by using one word: raisins.
Oh.
It was very raisiny in a very pleasant way,
right.
by the way. Although there was some nice Maduro tobacco undertones to the pre-light, the raisin note definitely won the day. I lit the cigar and started my journey. Nice thick smoke from the very beginning. No sense of a Nicaraguan pepper blast, although I did get some very light peppery notes. More strikingly, though, was the Maduro tobacco sweetness. It was really present in this cigar, along with some chocolate and mocha and that raisin note that I had picked up on the pre-light. There were nice notes of cedar as the Micallief Maduro worked its way into the second third. The chocolate vibe got a little richer, and the raisin note kind of bounced back and forth between raisin and a sort of a darker dried fruit sort of a note. Rich, thick smoke with a nice room note, even though I was in an outdoor room. Still, you could just tell that it was enjoyable room note smoke. A definite creamy vibe to the smoke, firm ash that was not too flaky. Picked up a little note of leather as I got into the final third. Plenty of cocoa and just a hint of that pepper, still mostly on the retrohale. The Micallief was medium-bodied, and it didn't ramp up too much as it burned, kind of consistently right in the middle of the spectrum in terms of the strength perspective. Construction was good. I had no burn issues. I didn't need to relight it at any point. The ash held on for about an inch at a time, probably longer, but that was where I tipped it off. Overall, I enjoyed the cigar quite a bit. I mean, it was a really nice experience just sitting there in the outdoor section of Silverleaf, taking in a kind of a lazy Saturday afternoon in downtown Fort Worth. There wasn't that much going on. There was a few people walking around. It was just a very nice vibe, right? Price to quality. I paid about $10 for this cigar.
Okay.
And therein lies really my only issue. It was absolutely worth it for the experience. So I'm inclined to give it a 5. Right? Enjoyed the cigar. The whole experience was just a really great time.
Right.
It was one of those, reminded me, in fact, I shared this with the guy that was kind of at the table next to me, that it reminded me of what you always say, that you can't hurry up and smoke a cigar. It was one of those kind of great,
I got time.
Great experiences, right? So I'm inclined to give it a 5 since I really enjoyed the hour and a half that I spent there. It was just very nice. But at $7 to $9, I can get a lot of cigars that I would describe as more complex, with a wider range of things happening in them from a taste standpoint, aromas. I also realize, though, that some cigar shops just charge more than others.
Yeah.
Depending on the real estate the rent they have to pay, whatever. I got the impression that Silverleaf was a little more expensive per stick than a lot of the places that I usually shop, and it's in a very nice building. So, I imagine they got some costs that some of my normal haunts don't have, and I totally get that. Bottom line, at $8, I would absolutely give this cigar a solid 5.
Yeah.
But at 10, I'm going to go with, interestingly enough, a 4.5. Just like we did.
Today.
It was very nice. I enjoyed it quite a bit, but that's a pretty competitive price point. So based on what else you can do at that price, tough to say that it weighs in as strongly as an Enclave broadleaf by A.J. Fernandez, which you can get it around $8.5, $9.
Micallief has some great cigars.
They do. They really do.
The Matafina
and it wasn't
good.
It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it, because it was terrific. Yeah,
so good. So I don't know.
But this is just their regular Maduro Toro. Anyway, it was good, and I enjoyed it, and I would definitely try one again. If I could find these at around $8, I would buy them on the regular.
So you were in Fort Worth. Did you go by CI?
I did not. It was further out to the north. It would have been about a 20, 30-minute drive from where I was, and I was right near the downtown area.
That's important cigar time.
Yeah, exactly. If I had gone to CI and smoked a cigar, I would have been trying to hurry up and smoke a cigar so I could come back, and you don't want to do that. This was absolutely perfect, and it wasn't far from where I was, and it was good. By the way, if you're ever in downtown Fort Worth, near the Dickies Arena, which is where I went to see Keith Urban there.
Right.
There is a little place across the street, which is also close to where we were staying, called Taco Heads. You absolutely want to go there for breakfast.
Oh,
nice. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah, so recommended.
That's awesome.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get started on some verticals. That's we're going to start. What are we going to start with? The KBS?
KBS.
All right, perfect. Excited about trying these and comparing the years, and that's what we will do when we come back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Ladies and gentlemen, on the bottle opener, Mr. Ian Berry. Very nice.
That was my bottle opener solo.
I like that.
But wait,
there's more.
There's more.
He's opening more bottles, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice. And we got...
I'll open the third one in a minute.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Hurricane Ian, as you probably know, made landfall not only in Florida and in the Carolinas.
Man, if you think I'm crazy.
But Hurricane Ian also landed as a storm with about 125-mile-an-hour winds when it came across Cuba. It was a Category 3 when it hit Cuba, and it was pretty devastating to the tobacco regions. We know that a whole lot of damage was done to crops. We know that most of the tobacco growers and the people who were there are just happy to be alive after the impact of the thing. Okay, I don't want to get these confused.
So the first one you got,
that's number one,
is the 19. The second one you got is the 18, and then the 16 is coming around.
Okay, all right, very good. So there were also reports of flooding in the fields after a foot of rain fell in parts of the island. There were 2 deaths reported in Cuba from the storm, and Ian also knocked out power to the entire country for a time. It is unlikely that this year's tobacco crop had been planted yet. The tobacco season typically begins later in the year once the threat of storms diminish. But regardless, they say the level of damage will be a setback to Cuba's tobacco harvest for this year because tobacco cannot be properly harvested without barns. And
I'm sorry about that, guys.
A lot of the barns got just absolutely demolished.
Absolutely wrecked.
Now, the other interesting thing about the damage from Hurricane Ian is that it also had a big impact on the U.S. cigar industry. Florida is the epicenter of the United States cigar industry, and Ian, of course, one of the most powerful storms ever to hit Florida. Destructive
That was
winds
my nickname in high school.
What's that? Destructive storm? Yeah. Rocky Patel Premium Cigars was hit especially hard by the storm. The company makes its headquarters in Naples, which is only a few miles from where Hurricane Ian made landfall. And everybody was expecting it to go a bit north, and then it turned, Rocky says, and just sat there. Water started coming in. Damage is pretty bad. My mailbox is underwater. There's no power. There's no water. But thank God everybody's okay. We haven't had any issues with people getting hurt. Tampa was originally forecast to be ground zero for the hurricane. Arturo Fuente cigars are based in Tampa, their headquarters, and they did shut down for 2 days, but then were operating again. And then there was some damage as well in Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. Pete Johnson of Tatuaje and My Father Cigars said thankfully they only had some rain and wind there in Miami and never had to actually shut down. But the damage has been pretty extensive, and especially Rocky Patel. So I would say if you're a fan of Rocky Patel, you might want to grab some cigars now just in case there's any kind of shortage.
I can't tell you how many people text me and said, "Why are you so mad?" or "Why are you doing this?" But one of my friends who lives just outside of Tampa, I texted him. I said, "Situation report." He goes, "All good. Didn't lose power. House is okay. Just lots of cleanup to do. Got lucky AF." I said, "Glad to hear it." And he responded, "Yeah, next time don't be a jerk and cause so much damage. I highly recommend changing your name to Sandy." And so I responded, "Yeah, next time don't try to tell me that Michael Schenker is a better guitar player than Rick Emmett. This is all your fault." That was our conversation.
I'm gonna have to agree with you and take Rick Emmett.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on. Michael Schenker's awesome.
Blinding Light Show? Are you kidding me? Come on. All right. So it's vertical time, my friends, and this is a quasi-vertical because we're not doing.
We're skipping a year.
We skipped 17.
Okay.
We're skipping 17.
So is this something
when I was 17
regularly do is collect these and hold on to them for this type of thing? Or
if you remember back with the big craze, people were hoarding this stuff.
Yeah.
It was hard to find.
Sure.
So when I got a bottle, I bought 4, and I would drink one every once in a while. That's why we're out of 17.
Because you got a little carried away with 17.
Yeah, I got it.
How was 17?
It was good.
Yeah, okay.
Let me help answer the question that you initially asked. Is this something that he does? I think my mic just went out.
I'm hearing you.
Oh, okay. Maybe my ears went out. Anyway.
Maybe.
But is this something he does? He when he moved back to Texas, he got a house that has a specific room in his garage area. His garage has like a nice big area for cars and stuff like that, which there are no cars in. And then he has a few extra rooms in the back, one of them being a big game room, and the other one is his beer room, which, by the way, has its own air conditioner.
Nice.
And stores all his beer for him. So
see, I think I'm cool because I have a beer fridge,
right?
But I don't have a beer room.
He has an entire
I got
beer
the beer
room.
fridge in the beer room,
of course. Yeah, that's
and
where
the
it would
deep
go.
freeze for crashing kegs,
Yeah. All right.
and the shelves for deep storage.
The shelves are very full, and so it's interesting because I was over at his house. I think he was doing a barbecue, and he was like, "Well, let's go pick out a beer to drink." He starts handing me beers, and we set them on the shelf, and he just looks up and goes, "That's a vertical." and so is this. And I was like, "Well, that's a show." And he goes, "Okay, let's do it."
That's how it works around here.
So that's how we got here.
Stuff just happens, and we go, "That's a show." That's how it
that's
works.
a show.
All right. So the first one is what year?
19.
No. Are you going backwards or forwards?
Let's go up. Oldest. First.
Depends on which one you want to start. Okay, so on your right hand side is 19. On your left hand side is 16.
All right, so you want to start with the oldest, or want to start with the newest?
It's the most likely to be soy sauce.
Now one of the reasons I thought that that this would be fun is just because like you can really kind of taste the difference. You know what? You want to start with newest first and go backwards and see if it improves. Let's do that.
I think 19 might be holding up.
Right?
Okay. So 19 is.
It smells raisiny.
On the nose, it is just a wonderful bourbon stout
and
vibe.
vanilla-y and bourbon-y.
Definitely getting the raisin.
And coffee. Lots and lots of coffee going on right there.
And this has got a definite sort of a breakfast vibe to it. You know, it's got a little bit of I don't know if there's lactose in this or not, but it's got the kind of heft to it that you would expect from a breakfast stout.
So they all say the same thing. What we have here is an imperial stout brewed with massive amount of coffee and chocolates. Then cave aged. I love that it's cave aged.
That's just cool.
In oak bourbon barrels for an entire year to make sure wonderful bourbon undertones come through in the finish. Makes your taste buds squeal with delight. I don't know if my taste buds are squealing. I mean, they might be. You probably have to get closer to be able to tell.
I will just say then, if this is a 2019, that means this beer went into those barrels in 2018. And then a year after, it was released upon an unsuspecting public.
It's boozy too, and I like the booziness. It's got a bourbony kind of thing, but almost I hesitate to say almost a rum kind of thing.
I know what you're saying.
Doesn't taste like rum, and almost like that. There's maybe it's the
it's the sweet with the
sweet, and there's a carameliness to it.
There's definitely a burnt caramel vibe going on.
Yeah, the burnt caramel might be making me think of rum. I'm for it.
Yeah, it's quite good. Now, that's the 2019.
Yeah.
The one before is the 2018.
So we're going back a year now.
Okay.
Okay, so this one shifts from a raisiny kind of note to more of a date kind of thing. Which they're similar on the nose in some ways, but you can kind of smell the difference. It's also got a little stronger chocolatey smell to it.
I was just about to say less coffee, more chocolate than the 2019.
Oh, agreed.
Not as boozy.
No, not as boozy. You're right.
Nope, that's mellowed out a little bit too. Yeah, there's a coffee bitterness to the end that the first one didn't have. There's a coffee bitterness that,
and that's probably why I'm saying more coffee, less chocolate, as compared to the first one. Because if I go back,
I think it's
first spillage here.
I brought plenty, buddy.
Thank you for bringing that. Yes.
So
the people who use this studio after our show are always like,
"That smells like
what
food.
happened in here?" Yeah.
This microphone smells like beer and cigar.
So that's a Billy Joel song, isn't it?
It's very interesting because there's also a little bit thinner mouthfeel to the second one too.
Yes, it's not as boozy and not as thick as the first one.
We should see what Adam says.
Oh no, I agree. It's the first one had more of kind of almost a creaminess.
Yeah. Going back to the first one.
Yeah, that's what I was attempting to do when the great spill occurred.
The first one has a lot more silkiness to it. You're both right on that. A lot more of a silky kind of vibe, a little bigger mouthfeel.
A little more of the lactose.
Then you go
vibe
back
too.
here to 18, and it's just a little bit thinner mouthfeel. It lost a little of the booziness, but it has that bourbon. It has that bourbon flavor. You know when you
it's still boozy. There's no
when
doubt
you
about
buy
that.
something that's bourbon flavored. You know what I mean? Like
bourbon flavored candy,
barbecue sauce kind of bourbon flavor.
Right.
You know what I mean? It has
Bourbon.
that bourbon flavor kind of stuff.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's like that's like the difference between banana and banana flavor. They're very different.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that is very well said because you're 100% right. If you get a banana flavored candy, it does not taste like banana taste.
It does not taste like a banana taste.
Yeah. There's a definite taste there, but it's not banana.
And this is not bad either. It's actually still quite good.
I think I like the 2019 better between the two, but not by a lot.
Oh, okay. So the 16.
Yeah.
We're starting to get a little bit of soy sauce in there.
Really, but not that much on the taste.
Nope, on the nose I was getting
on
it,
the nose.
but it's not on the palate. There's almost a pepperiness to it.
I actually like this one a lot.
It's weird because the mouth feels back. It's bigger than the
Bigger than the
18.
Yeah. So
There's a much longer finish on this one. The finish on this one is like linger forever.
this is just such a
And it's less coffee at all. Like there's coffee kind of flavor in there, but it's less coffee at all.
just showing that. I know we've got some B-roll of it that's
That,
but that's the Founders KBS. Very nice.
So, man, you should have tasted 17.
There's a
I knew he was going to do that.
so here's the other thing that I'm thinking. I think the reason the finish is so long in this one is about 3 times oakier than the rest of them.
Oh, you're right about that.
Like the
There's
oak, it's like a
distinct
dry,
oak, a
dry
dry
astringency to the, especially to the aftertaste that it leaves you kind of smacking your lips a little bit, like a good dry wine kind of thing almost.
So the 2019 is the most coffee chocolate. The 2018 is more coffee, less chocolate, and thinner mouthfeel. The 2016 is oakier. Definitely, those would be the sort of the easy description ways I'd come at
the raisiny flavor in the very first one has definitely shifted all the way to date by 16. Mm-hmm. Like it's definitely like or fig almost. It's like really
You could almost say a fig. Yeah. Definitely. So I don't know. They're all very good. Reminds me that these guys at Founders kind of know what they're doing. You know?
It's interesting to taste them like that. I don't think I've ever actually put 3 KBS up like this next to each other. It's so interesting how much different they taste.
Right. If you did these not in a vertical, in other words, if you bought the 2018 and drank it that year, right? And then the next year you bought the 2019 and drank it that year, you'd probably believe both of them to be incredibly similar.
Yes.
Like almost identical. But it is interesting.
But the other side of it, too, is a lot of times, like, when you have a bunch of beer like this, you'll go on there and you'll just pick one that you think is fun. Here's a 2017. I'll just have that. And then
Clearly that happened.
And you're not trying it right next to you. Apparently that happened more often than the other ones.
Right.
But you're not trying it right next to the other ones, so you're going off of memory. And it's interesting when you get to try it, like, right next to each other. Mm-hmm. So, although you have to think when you buy a beer like this, you're playing a long game.
Yeah.
Because to do it vertical, you got to have 2 to 3 years.
Right. Absolutely. You gotta
not drink that beer that long.
You gotta give it time to do its thing. Yeah,
that's right.
And the differences could also be because of bottle conditioning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of things could be different because they don't in these beers they're not necessarily trying to match last year. They're trying to do a this year version, right? So even though
they're
a lot
using
of
the
things
same
are
recipe, but they're not.
Right.
I don't think that they're in there trying to blend it identical every single time.
It's not like Budweiser, where they're trying to make the most Budweiser they can make. They're like, here's our stout for this year.
We're brewing it again this year,
and we're going to age it in this. But conditions are different, barrels are different. Like it can
weather's
be really,
different, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Although in a cave, does it really have weather? I don't know.
Huh?
I mean, it's cave conditioned, which sounds
It
awesome.
would still be a temperature, right? Like if it's a particularly warm year, for example,
Right.
Yeah, there
the cave
could
wouldn't
be
be
some
hot
differences, right.
necessarily, but it wouldn't be as cool as in a cooler year.
Could be.
Also, how you store it would come into factor.
Right, of course.
I mean, fortunately, I've got a environmentally controlled area I keep all my beer.
The beer room.
The beer
Yes,
room.
the beer room.
It's pretty awesome.
Well, I call it my beer cellar, even though it's above
Even though
ground.
it's above ground. I like
That's
it.
close enough.
I like it. Well,
my
these are
my
really
above
good.
ground beer cellar.
Do you have a favorite, Ian, among the 3 years?
I gotta say, there's a lot to like in each one. I love the oakiness on the 16, but I think 19 really has more of everything that you want in the KBS.
What do you think, Ian?
19. I like the mouthfeel. And
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah, 19 is definitely my favorite, too.
After the first couple sips, the booziness goes down,
And what I wonder, though, is how much of that is because it's the newest of the three, versus
Because it's just got more.
right, versus the fact that it's just happens to be the one that got that particular set of flavors through aging.
The interesting thing too is I wonder if we tried it in the other direction, if we would think maybe that one's a little strong.
Maybe.
I mean, it's you never know.
I just wonder if we had a 20, would it, because it was a bit fresher,
have
would it
even more.
be the
right.
favorite of all of the ones in the vertical? So interesting to see.
My memory on drinking a fresh one is that it is big and round. Like it is. It is like bold and kind of in your face, and none of these are totally in your face. They're all a little more subdued, and they got like the 19 has that nice balance. The 16 has that nice oaky thing on the end. But you get a little bit of everything, and I think some of those oakier flavors and things like that get a little bit hidden when you have so much stuff up front.
Right. Also, the fresh bottle at the store today, you're going to have a lot more of the hops.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because hops diminishes pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is why, IPAs you drink fresh.
Right. The
you know.
fresher the better generally on IPAs. It's why they can be so good like when you're at the brewery.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this IPA is spectacular. And it can be a little harder to recreate that in something that's sitting on the shelf for a couple of months.
Right, right.
So anyway, well, great stuff. It'll be interesting to see when we go for the Bourbon County if that plays out as well in the same way in terms of, do we like the freshest one the best, or will there be a year that stands out? And that's you got 4-year vertical
4
on
years,
that.
yes.
All right, so we'll be looking forward to that. That'll be coming up in the show. Also, going to tell you about Metallica's new cigars. James Hetfield getting into the cigar business. These guys do everything now.
That's interesting to me because they did great on bourbon.
They really did.
Their bourbon's
and if
good.
they do cigars the way they did with whiskey, they went to the right people with their whiskey. Let's hope they do that with cigars. I believe that they have, and I'll tell you about it coming up.
Ain't no tropical depression. This is a real deal. Play it like you feel to rescue a sensation. You got to get down.
Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. This program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. All
Man, those
things
things are good.
that we really like. And welcome back to the show. Show number 299, by the way. And we are glad to have you here. We're going to be trying a little blueberry beer. So while Ian is pouring that, I've got to tell you about the new cigar that's coming out from Metallica. New line of cigars coming out from Metallica, and it's going to be very, very interesting. So blackened... when the former master distiller from
Dave
Whistlepig, Dave Pickerel, passed away, they signed up Rob Dietrich to be the master distiller for Blackened and for Metallica's other whiskey projects moving forward. And James Hetfield of Metallica has now partnered with Rob Dietrich and some guy you may have heard of named Jonathan Drew from Drew Estate Cigars for a new blackened M81 cigar by Metallica.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you know that he was a cigar smoker?
I did not.
I had no idea.
It was a fun social thing, Hetfield says, a fellowship, to have a few buddies sit around with a few sticks. My buddy, Rob Dietrich, Blackened's master distiller, and I frequently enjoy cigars together, and he introduced me to Jonathan from Drew Estate. The three of us connected and shared each other's vision and story about where we've been, what we like to see, what's important to us now, and we all came up with what a blackened M81 cigar would look and taste like. I love the Maduro leaf, and I am super excited for everyone to try this. Of course, it's going to be
So my
a
guess
dark
is going
black
to be
Maduro leaf.
Maduro.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah.
big and sweet and that kind of stuff. It's probably going to be in
Yeah.
the medium to lighter side of medium range. Would be
That
my
would
guess.
be my guess, yeah. Dietrich and Drew have been friends for more than 10 years, and Jonathan Drew sent samples to the two men who kept journals as they smoked to note what they liked and what they didn't like as the blend evolved. And Dietrich calls it a project that was purely born from passion. Took about 2 years of sampling and smoking and ending up with a brand made entirely from Maduro leaves. So everything in the cigar, both the wrapper,
So this is
as
a
well as the
triple
binder
Maduro,
and filler.
then.
Yeah, so which reminds you of like the CAO MX3.
Dude, that.
Yeah.
Well, so I was smoking the CAO MX2s for a long time.
Yes,
They were
yes.
great. And then the CAO MX3 came out, and I was like, it does get better.
Yeah, absolutely. So
And
I'm excited about these.
I'm excited about a triple Maduro.
Yeah. I would always be excited about that. And if
A Maduro
they,
Puro.
when they did the whiskey, they did it right.
Yeah, they
it
did.
wasn't just
They did.
another celebrity project. They really did it right. And now you've got
Jonathan Drew.
Jonathan Drew.
I mean, Jonathan Drew's proven a couple things. First off, he can make very frou-frou cigars, but he can also make very serious fantastic cigars.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of those where I'd like to know where their vision is on this, because it's obviously not going to be one of the flavored cigars.
Right.
It's going to be
not going to be an acid. Yeah.
right. Interesting.
So fascinating.
What is it?
Yeah.
It's got to be very dark. So
Yeah.
what kind of wrapper are they using on that?
The wrapper is a Mexican San Andreas.
Of course,
The
of
binder
course.
is Connecticut broadleaf, and the filler is a combination of broadleaf grown in Nicaragua and in Pennsylvania. Jonathan Drew says the new cigar reveals layer after layer of Maduro's deepest, darkest, most magical and mysterious character. They're rolled in Nicaragua, and they come in 4 sizes, about between $9.15 per cigar for the Corona and $10.35 per cigar for the Corona Double. So it's not like they did this cigar and went, okay, they're $35. You know what I mean? Which they could have, because they could have said, hey, it's Metallica. Our fans
he
will
also
buy
didn't astronomically price their whiskey either.
No, they didn't. It's pretty reasonable. It's pretty reasonable. They were scheduled to be unveiled on Drew Estate's program Freestyle Live last week. Some people have already smoked it, but they didn't know what it was. The samples were given out in Drew Estate's latest Freestyle Live event packed, marked as mystery cigars. So that's how it's
Mystery
cool.
cigars.
So, yeah. Metallica was founded in 1981, which is why the blend is called M81.
Nice.
So that's where it comes from. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to trying that.
How do you feel about blueberry beer?
I am quite divided about blueberry beer. I'm either going to love it or I'm not going to like it at all when it comes to blueberry beer. and for me, there's no middle ground. It's either a really great flavor.
You've tried this now.
I have.
How are you feeling about this particular beer?
This one, I think it maybe didn't age as well as it could have.
Let's see what we're looking at here, because I don't know if that one has seen the camera.
Yeah, well, we did the
we
did,
but
okay.
We can put it up here. This is the Biggie's Bodacious Blueberry Brunch Bonanza from Alvarado Street Brewery.
Yeah. Okay, so I can tell you, you mentioned it might not have aged well enough, but this one already is in the category of the ones that I like, because it's not a sweet blueberry.
Right. It's tart.
It's tart. But it's not really a sour either.
Right.
It's somewhere on that.
I think the sour has mellowed.
line. Yeah. maybe so.
Also, there's no carbonation whatsoever left in it.
I think that's the biggest.
Yeah.
effect.
So after resting this can for a long time, you can see that the can has pushed out a little bit, and that can happen.
It almost looks like it was bought at Target. Just looking at the.
But here's what I think, because I was interested to hear what you guys were thinking, because here's the thing. I think this is well past its prime.
Probably so, yeah.
But it's real good the way it is.
Yeah, the carbonation would probably make it a little better, but it's really pretty good. It reminds me of...
I'll stick it in a glass and run it under my SodaStream thing.
When you...
Yep.
I mean, why not?
When you eat a sour candy, like a Sweet Tart or a Sour Patch Kids or something like that, and it has that perfect balance of the sweet and the sour, that's kind of what I get. Like, this doesn't strike me as a sour. It strikes me as just more of a tart.
Those blue...
Right.
Those blue Sour Patch Kids are the bomb.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I would love to experience this with some of the carbonation still intact.
Right.
But Ian's right. It's still really good.
It's still pretty
It's
drinkable.
Still good. Alvarado Street, they actually have a whole series of flavored beers. I mean, I happened to bring the blueberry because we were thinking about doing a blueberry group here.
Yeah.
But
It's Biggie's
they've got-
Bodacious Blueberry Brunch Bonanza.
right.
I like that.
They've also got like a banana split and creamsicle, whatever, a few flavors that you generally can't find here. The further you get away from Monterey,
Right.
Yeah.
the less flavors you find.
Have you ever played the Plants vs. Zombies video game?
Yes.
So
And it's a lot of fun. And I
It's-
love the sounds that the zombies make.
Well,
I don't know why it's so
I love
funny
the
to
sounds
me.
the zombies make. And in Plants vs. Zombies 2, there's one of the plants that you can get to attack the zombies with is a banana plant. And every time now anyone says anything about banana, I think because with that particular plant, you press it and then tell it where to shoot the banana to destroy a zombie. And then when you do, it goes, banana. And every time anyone says anything about bananas now, that goes off in my head. Banana, banana, banana. I'm sorry. I don't know why I went there. It's just it's the second time on the show today you've mentioned something about banana, and my brain just is filled with banana. I really enjoy this, though. This is, again, I would love to try it
A little more carbonated.
with a little more carbonation, but it is still
oddly
very
past
tasty.
its prime, and oddly still good because of it. Maybe in spite of it, I'm not entirely sure which
When
one it
you
is.
can be past your prime as a beer and still be good, I think that really says something.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
we've had a few beers that we held on to too long.
Right.
They're a little past their prime, and they were not good at all.
Well, I have to say,
Unless you wanted to
Alvarado,
dip sushi in them.
Alvarado Street's a solid brewery. So.
Yeah. Well, clearly. And you said they do a lot of berry flavored and fruit flavored stuff.
different flavors, like what was it? Like the banana split was the one I mentioned earlier, and
Banana.
creamsicle.
I can't help it.
I mean,
the creamsicle stuff
I
is
don't
always
remember
good.
off the top of my head, but they had a whole series of flavored beers.
Fun stuff. All right.
They've got their regulars, their stouts, and whatever.
So we're going to go 180 degrees from this in our next segment, and we're going to taste some rum. So I don't know if we want to do. I think the only thing we've got for a palate cleanse is a bottle of Coors Light there. I don't know if you want to try that for a palate cleanse before we go to rum or
Look
not.
at the mountains; they're actually blue.
Well, I can tell you that this is a cold beer, and I haven't touched it. Isn't that
That's
amazing? Because the mountains are blue.
I'm tricking the mountains. I put my thumb on it, and the mountains turn less blue.
They turned less blue.
But
All
I'm going
right.
to turn them completely not.
No, don't warm up. Warm Coors Light would be gross. It would go from being flavorless to being gross. So,
Are we
let's,
gonna attempt to palate cleanse with this?
it's up to you.
You know what? I haven't tried a Coors Light in.
It's up to you. We can try it during the break if you like, and we'll come back and tell you all about some rum.
I mean, it can't be as bad as Montucky Cold Snack, can
No,
it?
it's not. Believe me. I'd rather have a Coors Light than a Montucky Cold Snack any day. Any day,
All
any
right,
time.
we're going to try a Coors Light during the break. We'll come back and tell you all about it.
It's Smoking and Toasting.
The magic
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And at the moment, a little Coors Light as a palate cleanse, because that blue. We're going to go to rum, and the blueberry just. I'm afraid we would have really had a tough time.
So during the break, I mentioned that this Coors Light has a little bit of a stale beer smell, and Cruze said,
I said it reminds you of that beer on the carpet smell.
yes,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and we all know what that smells like because we've been in those bars, right?
Yeah,
What
it
bar-
reminds me of
The Blue
any
Iguana.
place that has a beer special, $1 beer.
Yeah.
draft
Right,
beer.
exactly. What bar would ever put carpet in? I mean, seriously.
I mean, the Blue
It's gonna
Iguana
get
had
beer
this
spilled
smell
on
at all times.
Yeah,
That was
absolutely.
the way the place smelled.
It was just that's just
That's an old
exactly
school
how it
like
smelled.
Houston hunt.
So Ian, how they're constantly doing these studies to try and show more and more about how consumption of alcohol leads to bad things, right? And they're always trying to come out with new ways to scare us about it and scare us away from it.
I saw a headline on was it CNN or one? I don't remember who did the headline, but it was about Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the headline was something to the effect of, even after Arnold's surgery, he refuses to quit the habit that kills 8 million people a year.
Oh, he's talking about smoking cigars, right?
Yeah, I'm
Except
pretty sure
cigars don't kill 8 million
smoking
people a year.
cigars doesn't kill 8 million people a year.
But
But they had to sensationalize the headline.
So they're always looking for stuff like that to put out in these articles, right? In fact, in a recent addiction journal paper, had researchers performing an in-depth analysis of the relationships between alcohol and dementia and trying to determine whether certain levels of alcohol consumption increase the risk of dementia. The researchers in the current review aim to provide a more concise understanding of this relationship while addressing the limitations of previous studies. And what they found, with a total of 24,478 individuals who were included in the current study, with a mean age of 71.3 years as a
mean
baseline.
age.
Yeah. 58.3% females, 54.2% of them were current drinkers. The risk, I want to really, I want to put this up in bold letters somehow. The risk of dementia was greater among those who abstained from alcohol than it was from people who are light to moderate and moderate to heavy drinkers, as well as among men. This result was consistent when fully adjusted models were employed, and neither lifetime abstainers nor previous drinkers who now abstain had a different dementia risk regardless of their sex or demographic or clinical characteristic. The only defining factor of this study was you were less inclined to develop dementia if you were not abstaining from alcohol. Double negative. In other words, if you drink alcohol, you're less likely, according to this study, to develop dementia.
Never see the light of TV.
Oh, yeah. This will never make it onto Fox News and CNN, will it?
Like, that is so against so many agendas
Yeah.
that it'll get buried.
When people talk about, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger headline you were talking about, it was like whenever people say these things about smoking, and listen, I understand that there is a risk factor involved in using tobacco of any kind. I get it, right? But in my mind, the relaxation benefit that I get from enjoying a great cigar far outweighs the risk of what that tobacco might do. And I'm not inhaling the smoke and all of that. But seriously, there is a positive to this that doesn't ever get talked about. And now there's a positive apparently to drinking as well.
What's one of the most inert things that you do daily? Breathe, right?
Right.
Too much air can kill you if you have a whole bunch of it like underneath you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can definitely kill you. Too much of anything will kill you. Too much alcohol will kill you. Too much cigarettes will kill you. Too much cigars, it could probably take a while,
Right.
but will kill you.
Absolutely.
I mean, too much of anything.
Too much exercise could kill you.
Yes, I mean, people
amazingly
die from all kinds of things.
Not that I'm running the risk of getting, close to that line. But it can happen.
And I'd just like to say, instead of worrying about me, why don't you let me worry about me and you worry about you,
I like it.
right?
Yeah.
And I'll smoke my cigars.
Yep.
And hopefully, we don't, everywhere doesn't become like California where you can smoke anywhere you want as long as it's not outside or inside.
Or inside, yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, that's the way it is.
That's it.
All right, so it's time to break into the Bourbon County.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were doing
I'm sorry. I'm wrong. We're doing the rum.
Oh.
It's time to break into the rum. Is what
Somebody's been
I
drinking.
meant to say. Yeah, well, and I'm excited actually about today's drinking news, which will be in our next segment, because we're going to be, and you're going to have to maybe come up with a little musical signature or something for drinking Escapades, because we're debuting drinking Escapades. That was nice. We're debuting drinking Escapades on today's edition.
Drinking Escapades.
Yeah, of drinking news, basically. And we've all had these, most of us have had these experiences where, we've had a little too much and something happens. That's what drinking Escapades is about. So, real life stories
certainly
from
not me.
real people. It's kind of like a reality show. Real life stories from real people on drinking Escapades.
I love it. I love it. Love where you're going with it.
Up. So, yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. So, all right. So, I'm concerned about dementia. It's not something I want in my future.
Let's talk about this
love
bottle.
to sample some rum.
Let's talk about this bottle first, because as you generally do, you did us the courtesy of making sure that the plastic wrapper was cleared around the top
you can
edge.
get some real, I
make sure
want to
there
call
were
them paper cuts, but
no
like plastic
sharp
cuts.
edges
Yes.
from the plastic, those kind of
that
things.
can happen, yes.
And then also, I didn't spill a drop, probably largely because you have cleared the neck of the bottle,
Right.
to make sure that the
It
drippage,
doesn't glug, glug, glug. when you pour it out.
is greatly reduced. So I want you to be appreciated for that,
I
because
appreciate you appreciating it.
it's 100%. The precursors of the rum date back to ancient times. It is believed that the development of fermented beverages from sugarcane occurred in ancient Greece.
Way to go, ancient Greeks.
Right? Got nothing better to do.
Yeah, right.
A close example is the drink called Immortal, produced by the people of Malaysia. In the rum dates back thousands of years and continues until today. The best rum is Immortal. So this is Immortal, not Immortal. Immortal.
Immortal.
Aged
But I think
12
I called
years.
it Immortal, but it's Immortal.
Right. Aged 12 years in American white oak barrels. Notes of authentic French vanilla and citrus.
Well, you definitely get the vanilla on the nose.
I haven't tried it.
And
yet.
that makes me happy because that is the kind of rum.
Oh,
there's
big time.
a lot of different styles of rum out there, and whether it's got the rubberiness to it or not, my favorites have always got the vanilla.
This has
maple.
Like if I was going to describe the smell, it's hard to describe the smell, but this is classic rum with vanilla right here. Like
Absolutely, yeah. You can tell that
you can
it's been
smell the
aged.
sugar cane just a little bit.
You can tell that it's been aged because of the vanilla, and you got the sugar cane sort of underlying that, which is
It's
letting you
almost
know
kind of a
that it's rum.
raw cane on the nose. It's really, really nice.
And then
All right,
when
what are
you
you
drink
feeling,
it-
Adam?
I'm picking up something a little bit fruity.
I agree. Mm-hmm. There's a stone fruit thing going on right there, like right next to the pit on an apricot or a.
Yeah.
But I'm totally getting the vanilla.
I mean, not overpowering, just a little fruity, vanilla.
A little bit of that. I would say maple, but I think I mean it's from the aging that you get these flavors. These are the flavors that I really enjoy in rum. It's the vanilla and that sort of thick maple to vibe,
Right.
So I'm assuming, and it says American white oak barrels. I'm assuming this is not a used barrel. This is a fresh barrel.
So it would certainly seem like it because I'm not
It tastes
picking
like
up.
a lot of oak.
I'm not picking up a lot of bourbony vibe, so I don't think it was like a used bourbon
No,
barrel.
the vanilla is not a bourbony vanilla like you
Right.
get from a charred oak barrel. This is a very kind of different. It almost has a champagne-y kind of fruitiness to it.
I was going to say that's to the fruitiness that he was talking about that gives it that. You're right. It is
Yeah.
almost a champagne like.
Not like a
fruit.
sweet fruit, but
Right.
like papaya maybe or something like that. Guava.
Mango, maybe
Yeah.
something in that family. Yeah, I really like this.
It also has a very minerally water kind of thing going on.
Yes, it does. It's, on the finish and then in the aftertaste.
Yeah,
you can pick
between
up
the
a little
mineral
of that.
water and the oakness on the aftertaste, it has a bitterness to it that I'm really enjoying that kind of finishes the flavor in a very nice
But
way.
that minerality is kind of like a Scotch, even though the flavor profile is very
Yeah,
different.
nothing like a scotch.
Yeah, but the
I see what you're saying,
minerality is
yeah.
kind of like a
you taste
good
the
Scotch.
water that it's made from,
Right.
and this has very minerally kind of interesting water.
I really dig this.
Yeah. It doesn't burn going down, but you can feel the heat after.
Yeah.
Right, it has what we would call the rum hug.
The rum hug comes up.
Yeah.
Comes up and gives you a little greeting.
You know, it's funny because it sticks to the glass. It's pretty oily, but it has a thinner mouthfeel than I would expect when, like, after looking at this.
It
and it's
doesn't
not-
come off boozy like you were saying, but
Right.
but it certainly still has some heat and some, as you were saying, Ian, a thinner mouthfeel may contribute to it not feeling so boozy.
Maybe, yeah. But it is oily. Like, you'd expect, like, when you see that much, like, wine, people would call it legs on the glass, but you get that oiliness. And I bet a little touch of water in this would open up some brand new flavors that we wouldn't even expect.
Oh, you're probably right about that.
Yep.
Probably
Yeah.
right about that.
So what is this? Is this 40%? Yeah, straight up.
Yeah. And about a $46 bottle.
I think that's worth it.
I would agree. It's really good.
I might put just a single cube of ice.
Oh, yeah. When you said water, I thought, I wonder
Yeah,
what.
just a touch
wonder
to
what
open
just a
it up.
touch
would
of
Just
be-
to chill it,
coolness would do it,
just
yep.
a fraction, and just that little bit of water that comes off the ice.
But it's not because I don't like what's going on here. It's because I think that would actually add to the experience, not changing what I'm already
Agreed.
having, but add to it.
Agreed. Well, I'm digging it killer bad, as my friend Pat would say.
It's I broke mine. It's completely empty.
Yeah.
It has evaporative qualities.
I
It certainly
definitely
does.
wouldn't mix it with anything.
No, you would not want to use this one for your pina coladas. Or
No.
whatever.
Listen, guys, Dr. Pepper and Kraken is actually quite good.
Yeah, you don't want to put
You
Dr.
would not
Pepper
want
in
to do
this.
this.
No,
First off, I don't think the flavors would match. I think the oakiness in this
Yeah.
would taste
might
awful.
clash with the Dr. Pepper. Yeah.
Or even like any like classic rum soda drink. I think it would pretty much taste pretty bad. But
Yeah, but this is not one you buy for
really
mixing.
nice. By
I don't think
itself.
it would be bad. I just think you'd lose all the good.
Yeah. And that's one of the things we talk about, like, why would you mix this level or why
Right,
wouldn't
right.
you? I mean, you can mix anything you want. But the thing is, when you start mixing at a certain level, you have the diminished returns. In other words, you're just not going to taste how good your whiskey is or your rum or whatever
Right.
it
For
is
sure,
you're
yeah.
mixing.
Be like, yeah, that's a rum and Coke, but you should have tasted the rum before.
Yeah, Coca-Cola is a very strong flavor. And if you're drinking rum and Coke, you can get away with a lot of rums, but you can even make a better one. You say, okay, I want Mount Gay rum, and that'll help. Mm-hmm. But when you get into something like this, this is just, another level of rum.
Ron Immortal.
Rum
Immortal.
Immortal.
Very cool. Very
Cool
excellent
bottle,
stuff.
too. The bottle's
Yeah.
got these beautiful wings.
It's got a
that
sort of
come
a
off on it.
regal look to it, doesn't it? Yeah. I'm digging.
Kind of embossed into the glass there.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we still have to do on this program. We still have drinking news, and we still have another vertical, the Bourbon County Stout from Goose Island.
Also, during the break, the mountains are no longer blue.
And that beer
What
is
is
no
about
longer,
to happen?
Yeah, the beer is no longer tolerable. We'll be right back.
Come on, let me love you a little and help me understand.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, our program all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Welcome to show number 299. And I just have to mention that during the break, I finished my little cup of that rum, and I just like it even better now. It's just
good rum.
it's really, really good.
Also, during the break, the mountains are no longer blue on this Coors Light, and I poured it into a cup,
Yeah.
and it smells bad.
It smells even more like
Well, you
the
know,
beer on the carpet that we were
so I
talking
want
about.
to point out, like, Coors Light's a particular thing, because, like, Bud Light, I don't think smells very good when it's warm. Budweiser, I think, just smells like beer when it's warm. But some of these beers really have a funk, man. And this
Yeah.
one, like I just poured it in there, and it's like, man, this milk is bad. Smell this. It's
Right.
really like that kind of. Yeah, I'm making you do it, buddy.
Does this look infected to you?
yeah.
It's one of those type of things, right? Yeah, exactly. Well,
That's pretty bad.
with that as our backdrop, what better time than now to break into what we like to call drinking news?
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. By the way, last week at the end of the show, we did a special videotaping of our master distiller from Limavady taking a sip of his whiskey.
He was great.
And saying with his wonderful Irish accent, I had to take my gator to the vet. And that will be making an appearance on future episodes of Drinking News. Well, welcome to Drinking News, where we always tell you that these are stories that may or may not be about drinking, but that are always best enjoyed when you've been drinking. That said, we've noticed a distinct lack of stories about drinking over the past few weeks, over the last several shows, and today we'd like to establish a little bit of balance. We need more stories about the questionable decisions that people sometimes make when they're enjoying an adult beverage or two, or many. So please allow us to present a brand new and sure to be repeated Drinking News episode feature we can only call Drinking Escapades. They're kind of like the Escapades, except somebody in the story was probably hammered. So, For drinking escapades, we've scoured Reddit, BuzzFeed, Twitter, Facebook, and my own personal diary to bring you first-person accounts
My own life.
that you may find to be uncomfortably familiar. A poster identified as Chris Libs said, online, I was kicked out of a burrito place for spilling drinks all over the table and trying to wipe up the mess with other people's tortillas. and he goes on to say, my friend told me that I tried to eat them afterwards, too. So, yeah, that's when you know you've had maybe
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Too many. Kelly D. said, I woke up after a night of partying to find my phone missing, so I went to the front desk of my dorm to ask if anyone had turned it in. They responded, are you Kelly? And handed me my phone with a sticky note on top with my name written on it in my own handwriting. Apparently, I had given the front desk my phone to keep me from drunk texting anyone. That's good, right? That's good. So then there's Kim W., who shares this drunken episode. My boyfriend was the manager at a cool cocktail spot, and we were there on New Year's Eve. I'd had 5 drinks when I started chatting with 2 new bar friends, and for some reason, I went into graphic detail about how talented my boyfriend is at anal sex. Turned out, my 2 new bar friends were the head chef and general manager of the restaurant, to whom my boyfriend, and now my husband, became legend. That's Kim W. And of course, there's Shen Sei, who posts the following: what's cooking, Twitter? I bought non-refundable plane tickets while drunk, so now I'm in Tokyo for no reason with no money and no hotel. That's good.
That sounds
really
like
good.
something I would do.
Yeah, that's really good. But the opposite can also be true, as evidenced by this post from Samantha C. My ex was a groomsman at my friend's wedding, and I started drinking pretty early on in order to not be flustered by him being there. Well, at some point, we all started talking about orgasms, and apparently I pointed directly at my ex and yelled, well, you won't get one from that guy. You're liking the drinking escapades,
That's
aren't you?
awesome.
Yeah. From Sydney MDC, I came home plastered one night and decided to make spaghetti. It wasn't until the next morning that I realized I'd strained the pasta with my pet's dirty pooper scooper, which I thought was a colander. That's rough. That's rough. And finally, Justin B. shares this wonderful story. And by the way, I have no idea if it's Justin Bieber or if it's just coincidentally Justin B. But,
Justin Brown.
Yeah, Justin B. Yeah. Could be Justin Barcalounger. I don't know.
Barcalounger.
Justin says, once I was drunk and walked to my friend's apartment to crash there. The door was unlocked, so I went inside, but no one was home. I noticed the apartment looked different, but I thought maybe they'd redecorated. So I decided to just get in her bed and go to sleep. But I drank so much that I ended up throwing up all over the room. After cleaning myself up and borrowing some clothes from her closet, I finally went to sleep. But when I left the next morning, I found out that my friend had been wondering where I was all night. Apparently, the apartment I slept in was not hers.
Oh, my God.
Turns out I threw up in a random stranger's room, borrowed a random stranger's clothes, and fell asleep in a random stranger's bed. Reporting live from a strange apartment where I'm looking damn good in a frilly shirt and a pair of hot pants. My name is Cruze, and that is your first special episode of Drinking Escapades that has been your...
Drinking news, drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all.
All right, so that last
Actually,
story.
we're not passing them over to... Sorry. didn't
We
mean
need
to
a
interrupt.
rating system for those, by the way. I think a 1 through 5
Yeah?
rating system. But we'll talk about that later.
Those are the same. Some drinking newses are better than others.
Yeah. So here's what I'm thinking. That last story reminds me so much. Every 100 meetings with our club, we do an event.
Right.
And it's just for the club. Usually it's a destination. And one year we went to Galveston. Mm-hmm. And then we had a beach house in what's it called next to Galveston, the peninsula there.
Crystal Beach.
Crystal Beach
Crystal
area,
Beach,
yeah. So we had a beach house in Crystal Beach, and one of our members, Bo, who will be his name today, one of our members got a little bit over the top. And when we headed back to the beach house, he went to the wrong beach house. And he was very mad because apparently we played this very elaborate ploy where not only did all of the CCSD members move to a different beach house,
And not tell
but
them.
the ones that were there refused to answer the door. Until we found him sleeping on the porch of another house.
Isn't that like the Robert Downey Jr. story? Wasn't that when he decided he needed to get sober when like people were waking him up in like strangers' houses that he's crawled into on his way home from from, like Hollywood someplace? I think that's actually true.
I mean, what do you do when you come home and you find a Robert Downey Jr.?
Right, exactly. That's like
We could offer him breakfast.
I mean, yeah, you want breakfast?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Absolutely. Yeah, no. If you enjoyed sleeping in the bed last night, you're going to stay for breakfast. So, yeah, come on now. All right, so we are now looking at a vertical of Goose Island.
We're staring this
Bourbon
vertical
County,
right down the
Bourbon County
hairy eyeball of its
brand stout. So-
its bomber.
So Goose Island, really a famous brewery in
Yes.
in the Chicago area. These guys were among the first to experiment with bourbon barrel aging
Yep.
and to do the
If I remember
crazy thing
correctly,
that-
the brewmeister was the owner's son, and I'm
believe
blanking on his
I
name. Was
believe
it
it's correct,
Brandon?
yep.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But he was hanging out apparently with one of the guys from Jack Daniels, I believe it was. And this was an idea he had, and that's how it all came about. As an idea, like, what if we aged a stout?
Now, Goose Island, the Goose Island eventually wound up being sold to Anheuser-Busch,
did.
which is what that whole book that we mentioned earlier in the show is about. Is about that
Right.
process.
Mistakes
and
were
what
made on both
happens and-
sides,
yeah.
but man, that will let you know what some of the macro brews do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. One of the interesting things is, though, that Anheuser-Busch, while they have done some things that have legitimately decreased the quality of things like Goose Island IPA and some of the other things, they seem to have left this particular part of the project alone.
Man, when you
And
have
allowed the brewers to
when
do
you
their
have
thing.
a billion-dollar corporation that will leave this thing alone, you have something going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
What
no
year
kidding.
was that?
Oh,
Did
it
you know,
was
Flan?
about 10 years ago, wasn't it?
No, it was mid-90s, wasn't it?
Maybe it
90s.
was. Maybe
it was
because it was the
mid-90s.
first real sale.
It was the first one sold. So if I am correct, it's like 97-ish, 98.
Maybe so. Because
If only there was a
device.
device
Yeah,
that
right.
we could ask.
Right. No, my point is this is probably the most acclaimed Anheuser-Busch beer out
Oh,
there.
well, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what
it is.
order do we have these in now?
Okay, we're going opposite this time. We're going from the oldest to the newest.
Okay, oldest is on
So
my...
on the right is the oldest?
To the right is the oldest. That's the 15.
Oh,
Then we go to 16, 17,
15,
18.
16.
So we're going to go
17,
oldest to
18.
newest. And we've had some of the newest iterations actually
Right.
recently.
We've had the 19, I
the,
think, and maybe the 20.
You brought it, as a matter of fact, you did brought in. You did brought in. Words are hard. English difficult. You did bring in one that had been aged a little bit. So, but we've also had one of the recent ones on the show too, I think. And so it'd be interesting to see what our memory serves us on this one. So we're going from oldest to newest. This is a
So starting at 16?
15.
15. All right.
We're
Well,
going back.
there is a tiny trace of the soy sauce vibe, but it's not
Yeah.
enough to interfere with the overall.
Yeah,
Taste of the beer.
it's one of those things I almost would have not noticed if you didn't mention it.
I smell raisiny raisin with raisins.
And
on
that,
the
I think, is where the whole soy sauce thing comes from. It's that sort of dark sweetness of the raisins that gives you that hint of soy.
there is that little hint of soy, especially on the aftertaste right there. It's actually,
But-
this is still drinkable.
It's
though.
actually very drinkable.
Absolutely.
Pretty good. It's interesting because I've had beers that have gone. I can't remember what we had on the show last year. We had something that had just
Oh, yeah. It
Turned
completely
way
turned.
south.
It completely
But-
turned. Like,
In fact, I'm getting more soy on the nose than on the
agreed.
tongue.
Agreed. It reminds me of that.
No,
that
this
beer we
is-
had that had turned reminds me of that Far Side cartoon. When mayonnaise goes bad, and you open up
It's
the
got the
guy
mayonnaise
opens up
with
the
the knives
refrigerator.
and
The mayonnaise has a knife with a gun. Yeah,
This has gone. I think what it's done is it's gone barley wine
it kind of has.
with coffee.
Yeah, it kind of has. No, you're right.
It's
got a little
gone
bit of that.
coffee barley wine.
So this may be your favorite one.
this is actually it's kind of good. It's sticky
Yeah.
as all can be.
It is. It is
Yeah.
almost like a sticky bun sticky. You know.
Right.
I mean, it is. Yeah, you could glaze donuts with this. The coffee is very intact though.
But it's not bitter coffee. Just
No. But
Agreed,
the oak
yeah.
is astringent too. That does leave your mouth dry.
For sure.
And then there's definitely like, what are these coming in at ABV? They're 15.2%, just a paltry 15.2%.
Pretty boozy. Yeah, absolutely.
So
All right.
and this is pretty boozy.
right.
All right, I dig the 15.
I'm a fan.
Now I'm going to move to the 16.
The nose is creamier.
I'm not getting nearly as much nose, and you're right.
Right.
It is creamier.
Oh.
Ooh.
This is the right age.
This is really
Because
good.
this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a little bit boozy, but it's got a creaminess to it, almost like it has milk in it.
Right.
It's that creamy.
No, this gave me the flash of you playing Goodbye Horses and rubbing your nipples.
Yeah, right? Again. I mean, what?
I mean, what? No, that never happened.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Would you drink Bourbon County with me? I'd drink Bourbon County with me.
Drink the Bourbon County.
It puts the beer in its mouth. It does this whenever it's told.
That is really good.
This got
guys.
dark.
Yes,
No, this is
darker than the beer, in fact, which is pretty. Dark.
this is fantastic though. This one, like the other one, it's drinkable. This one is really really good.
Yeah,
Agreed.
soy's gone.
Yeah, there's no soy vibe at all to this one.
Creamy. And
So
not,
and this is
not
a
bitter coffee, but
this
coffee.
is the 16. So
16.
apparently you get 6 years.
Well, it's interesting because when we did the KBS, the 16 was not our favorite one.
Right.
Right.
This one, so far at least.
So far, yeah, between
16 is
15 and
our
16, this is definitely it's better. I'm going to 17.
All right, let's do it.
When it was 17.
This feels almost like a what do they call that? A luxury of excess or whatever this is. Just to be able to go, all right, that was good, but I'm going to go to the 17. Yeah. You know? I'll see you guys later.
What is the term you're looking for? I know what you're talking about. An embarrassment of riches.
That's what you're talking about. Okay, this 17 is spectacular.
It is.
I think I like
Really?
16 better.
I like
Really?
I still like the 16 better. There's a shift in the flavor.
This
I
is more.
can't-
This is more coffee, and actually more oaky too,
and the nose has a little more booze.
and
So-
a little boozy.
So, question.
Okay.
If you were taking these a year apart, right? Would you feel like they tasted exactly like what you remember of the previous year from a year ago?
So these, first off, this is way oakier than I remember a fresh one being. Every one of these so far, it has way more of that oak
astringency, to it, yeah.
kind of on the tail end. The second thing is they're a little more raisiny because I remember a fresh one being a little more coffee forward,
Right.
big time. It's going to have a little more coffee and then rich dark chocolate behind it, and then the bourbon flavors, and then oakiness, and then like a little vanilla kind of kick on the end. Also, there's a little hop bitterness that happens too, and we're not getting any of that I remember in this. Now, it would be fun to have if we had one here in the studio, but since we don't, we're going to have to go to the
18.
18.
Oh, you haven't gone to the 18 yet.
And the 18's good. It's interesting what happens with the flavors. I like the 18 better than I like the 17, and I like the 16 better than I like the 17. Not sure if I like the 18 better than the 16. I'm not
I'm the
entirely
same.
sure.
18's a little sweeter.
18's sweeter. It's also got the mouthfeel gets bigger as you come up the
I agree with you.
age. The mouthfeel thins out as it gets older.
I'm going to say the 18th is the best. The 16th is the second best, followed by the 17th and the 15th.
It's interesting because the age on it, like
Yeah, I got to compare 18 to 16 here.
That's
I'm
fun to
16.
do.
16 all the way. 16 has that dark chocolate rich thing going on that.
Yeah. I'm still saying 16 is Goodbye Horses.
Yeah, 16. I'm 16.
You're 16. You're
and
beautiful,
here's
and
the
you're
thing.
mine.
None of these are bad. They're all very good and drinkable. And if you took one of these bottles individually and said, "Hey, I got this to share," everyone will be very happy.
So,
Yeah.
question: do these go up in value as they age? I know it may
I've never
be hard
tried to
to
sell
buy
them. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it may be hard to buy them from previous
Some
years.
beers do. I mean, if you still have a Sink the Bismarck or a Tactical Nuclear Penguin, it's going to be worth a ridiculous amount at this point in time.
Yeah. I actually do have a Tactical Nuclear Penguin I almost brought.
Oh, you said you were there at my was it my birthday or my no, it was my bachelor party where we drank 2 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expensive.
Well, how to blow money in a very quick amount of time.
Exactly. Well, these are all terrific, though. You're right. There's
Yeah.
not a one of these that isn't awesome.
Bourbon County ages well.
Yeah.
It really does. Really
I mean,
does.
we've
And-
got it back. We've got it back 7 years, and it's still very drinkable.
And I'm going to say that even compared to the KBS, which is an awesome, awesome beer, I think this ages better,
yeah, agree.
and maybe better than any of the oak barrel aged beers that I've had.
Well, you got to go back 7 years before you even get a hint of soy.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty amazing.
And didn't I bring in something that was like 2019 and it was
yeah,
already
and
soy?
It was
only like 3-4 years old.
I can't remember what that was, but yeah, I remember us going, "Ooh, that's way past this
Right,
prime."
right, exactly. So it happens. But this is good.
Yeah, I still stand by it. I think the 16 is like it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm with you because like where they're 18 and 16 are like neck and neck. I think it just needs to mellow just a little
The
bit.
booze is mellowed out a little bit by the 16.
Yeah.
I think the boozy flavor has mellowed out a little by the 16, and maybe the dark chocolate and the coffee has mellowed out a little bit.
Right. I think that's it with the 18. It's too much coffee in comparison to the 16.
Right. And then the 17 that I just spilled all over the place.
See?
That's why we have
We've
napkins.
all done these.
That was amazing. Did you see me?
Yeah, I didn't see what happened there, but
Well,
that's good.
17 was a loser out of the batch.
I hope you
anyway,
got that
so.
on the camera. But the 17, I think the coffee is a little bitter on it
Yeah.
overall.
So, Ian, you know that thing that they used to do, like on radio shows, like the morning show, where they'd have the like a DPS officer come in, and then the DJ would
Yes.
would drink for the whole show, and they'd give him breathalyzers to show, what his blood alcohol level was, and then
Please tell me you have a breathalyzer here.
you'd listen to him, start to slur his words and whatever. I'm just thinking, though they could have done that instead of having to go like a whole 4-hour show. They could have done that in like 45 minutes if they'd gone with this bourbon kind of shit. This is very, very boozy stuff.
Right.
I'm not even sure what I'm saying.
Did you
at
ever
this
watch
point.
I'm actually blacked out at the moment. I don't remember what I'm going to say, so I'm sorry for today. No, do you remember Mythbusters had one where they were trying to bust all the myths, like if you can beat a breathalyzer,
Right.
And they sat there and got hammered, and then they
And then
did all the
couldn't-
eat a bunch of Altoids and
Right.
mouthwash and all. As a matter of fact, mouthwash made it spike because that stuff has so much
it's
alcohol.
got alcohol in it.
It
Yeah.
was like, yeah, and there's apparently no way to beat it if you're drunk.
Right. No, that actually brings up something a sheriff buddy of mine told me. I'm not going to name any names, but if you burp into the breathalyzer, it'll spike the alcohol level so high that you can contest it in court. Like, I would be dead if my alcohol was that high. There's obviously an error
That's an
there.
interesting game to play, right? Because you're going downtown, but
You're going to go downtown either way.
yeah.
But
Fascinating.
you can say, really, my alcohol level was like 6%.
Right.
Yeah.
Name one
fascinating.
person who's had 6% blood alcohol and lived.
Well, Uber makes things so easy.
Tom Arnold.
Yeah. And Lyft. Definitely always get a lift.
Yeah.
It's
so,
not worth it.
I'm a Lyft guy. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the couple times I've tried Lyft, like my last experience with Lyft was going to your house actually, and I was like, "Oh, you can just drop us off right here." Or no, wait, you've passed it. No, drop. Can you just stop the car? He stopped an entire block further. He's like, "Oh, I had to wait to the light." Well, you had to stop at a light.
That's driver
He was
error.
obviously
that's not Lyft.
very
Lyft
high.
is a solid
Very
company.
high. Yeah.
No, this guy was very obviously very high. I was like, "Come on,
Yeah.
guy."
Lyft is Rakuten. Lyft is
Yeah.
a Rakuten company.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I even said
But,
that.
I mean, here's the deal,
I'm going to
like,
blame the
that's-
Bourbon County style.
Right.
Being a guy who has occasionally taken cabs, and I don't know if they've changed this, but man, have you ever called a cab and then it's going to be 45 minutes?
Oh, yeah. The
Like,
cab-
how do you do that at the end of the night when you're at a bar?
Yeah. The cab companies are like totally on notice because of
Right.
Uber and Lyft. Like they've all had
Right.
to step up their game.
What's cool with Lyft, you can reserve a ride. You can
Mm-hmm.
schedule a ride ahead of time.
Oh, I didn't even know. So you could
So
be like,
if you're
I'm
like-
going to be leaving at
if
this
you're
time.
if you're like
Yeah.
going to the airport at 5 a.m. or something the next morning,
And
you can set that
the
all up in
drivers will
advance.
pick it up and schedule and say, hey, you're confirmed.
Yeah.
So
And then
you're leaving a bar, you say, hey,
You guys
pick
have
me
just
up at
sold me Lyft
2:10.
right
Yeah,
now.
big
Lyft
time,
is
big
Lyft is
time.
cool.
Lyft is pretty cool.
Don't drive
not
drunk.
as cool
Take
as
a
this-
lift.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was the whole point of this is, if you're out and about getting good and drunk, man, I mean, it's so easy to take a lift. Like, stop with
Yeah.
the excuses. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
We've
go back-
all-
you
we've
can
all
go-
done that.
You can
I
go
mean,
back and
you're
get
either
your car
gonna
the
go to
next day.
jail or crash your car. Maybe you get lucky.
Right. Right.
It's not worth it. Take
it's
a
not,
lift.
It's not worth the spin of that wheel.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. No, Lyft is awesome, and so is this 2016.
See, that was our PSA.
I'm drinking the
right
rest of my
there.
2019. I
That's
gotta
right.
drink
It's
my
okay.
2016
We
tomorrow.
are all about responsible drinking.
Right.
And I've been responsible for a lot of drinking. So that's just what I have to say. Adam, thank you for coming on the program, and thank you for bringing these wonderful beers from your collection. This is
Right.
great stuff.
It's always a pleasure.
It is always good to have you here. And so, Ian, is CCSD something that people can look into and figure out if they might want to join, or is it more like a secret society, like you have to be invited?
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but here's the best part is if you're in the Houston area, coming up on November 5th, is that?
5th, yes.
November 5th, we're going to have our November Fest.
Is that like a membership drive?
It could be.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser for the club.
Okay, cool.
Now, when I say fundraiser for the club, I want you to realize that we're raising funds for the club. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
It's not like we pocket the stuff. It pays our rent and it helps us throw more parties.
yeah,
Right.
so we
Well-
are actually trying to make life better for everyone who comes to our parties. But
See, I was sold when you told me about 80s night.
Yeah.
Yeah. That 80s night was where everybody shows up with 2 40 ounces.
that's
one in
right.
each
That's
hand.
right.
Yeah.
Everybody shows up with 240 ounces.
Love it. Yeah.
That's 80s night.
And if we have a pledge, we tape them to their hands and they have to finish them.
Yeah, it's finish 'em, yeah.
Edward 40 hands. Come on, we all know
Love
the
it.
game.
I love
But we have an event coming up. We do this every year. It's called November Fest, and we all brew a bunch of beers. We have
of
some
homebrews, right?
Right.
Yes, we got some fantastic brewers in the club. So this is not like I don't know if you were like me when you were just like 19 or 20 and you were going to date a girl and her dad had like some homebrew that was god awful.
Right. Some of
That's-
our members
that's
work
a real
at
difference.
reputable brewers like
We do have some,
Brash, Eureka Heights,
yes, we
Okay,
have some
yeah.
members that
Sure.
St. Arnold's.
So the brews are fantastic, and you're basically gonna donate at the front door to the club, and then you get to come in and you get music. There's gonna be some great bands there this year.
Yeah.
If
Once
you
you're
talk
in,
for a minute, I'll pull up a bunch of the bands that are coming
yeah.
out.
Once you're in, it's all the food you can eat, all the beer you can drink.
And so you don't have to be a member to come to
No,
this.
not
no,
at
no,
all.
you
Yeah.
just pay your entry fee, and all the food and beer is free.
And the entry fee is probably what?
What is it?
$20?
$25 per couple. Wait. It's 30. Is it 30 per single
30
and 50 for a couple?
I think that's what it is.
Still,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
But here's the deal. I mean,
And
look
if you're
at your,
standing in the
all
line
you
next
can
to
eat
some
and
guy,
drink?
just say, "Hold my hand," and we'll charge you 50. For
yeah,
both
and
of
here's
you.
the deal. Like, if you've ever dated in the last 10 years, then you know that going out on a date is going to cost you more than $50.
oh yeah, dude.
So $50 to get in with all the drink and food that you can have plus bands, and you don't have to buy anything
we
else.
got some big name bands too.
Yeah, who's on the list?
So on the list we've got
I'd say-
Ghost. We've got Ghost Town Outlaw.
Whoa. Number 1, Houston Legend.
Going backwards.
Oh, okay.
Wait for it.
All right.
It's anticipation.
I'm chomping at the bit because we have a
Asian
big
Victoria,
band.
dude.
We have a huge band there.
It's anticipation.
Dude, you have the Beatles on your show?
Ghost
Next
Town
best.
Outlaw, Hard Luck Revival, which is a lot of fun, by the way, if you haven't seen them. Molotov Compromise. That's actually one of our members' groups, and they are as big dumb rock
Great-
as you're going to get. It's
Great
fantastic.
band name. I love it.
Holy Hell will be playing, and my favorite, they've been around since the 70s, playing in the Houston area. You've seen the lead singer on his Vespa driving through the Montrose with a big ass mohawk.
Who sued the city of Houston for firing because of his mohawk, and he won.
We were talking
My
about
good
the
buddy
hates.
Christian.
The hates.
The Hates.
Wow.
The Hates
This is
are
a pretty big
headlining.
lineup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be pretty good.
Pretty big lineup. So I didn't
So,
know the Hates
yeah.
were even still together.
Yeah, they're still playing,
Yeah, pretty cool.
and they're excited.
They're still playing
They're
around.
excited about November Fest.
So November Fest,
Yeah,
we're going to start it
November
off. We're going to kick it off
Beer
about
Fest.
I think 1 o'clock is our kickoff time.
Right.
Since we have 5 bands
And then till whenever.
till we're out of beer, and then until the bands are tired playing, and then
You know, I don't know if I've said this on the
At
show
the Caddy
before.
Corner.
at the cat. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Location's a good thing.
Catacorner Ice House, corner of Alba and Westfield.
All right.
A
So-
very, very good location. We
Yes,
love, we
just
love the
north of
Caddy Corner.
Just north of 610 in the Heights area, just north of 610. It's for Catacorner Ice House. You'll find it. They just built brand new bathrooms and everything, so you won't be stuck with porta johns.
If you're coming up Shepherd, take a left on 38th and you'll get there.
It's a lot of fun. Like we take over the entire patio. We basically take over the entire place. We take over the entire patio and we make a lot of noise and we have a blast.
It sounds
doing
like
every
sounds
year.
like great fun. It really
So
does.
glad you pulled that up.
Well, gentlemen, you know, I don't know if I've ever said this on the show before, but after these very high ABV beers and the incredible rum, I just want you to know, I love you guys.
Love you too, man.
And that wraps up our 299th edition of Smoking and Toasting. Way to have more of the.
They haven't
16.
stopped
Let me
us
go back
yet.
here.
Hey, does that include the lost episode?
Yes. That
Yes, it
last
does.
episode is included in the count, even though it
Okay.
never saw the light of day. One day we will recover that lost episode.
Yes, we need to like.
And then we'll be very disappointed
And
at
we'll
probably how
listen to
lame it is.
We'll listen to the vitriol and bile that you're spilling the entire time.
Have a wonderful week. I'm not spilling any vitriol this time.
Yeah.
I love everybody. Have a great week, my friends. We'll see you next week for number 300.
Love and peace.
It's alright when it's okay.